Dear students and colleagues, welcome to this second webinar of the Innovation Talks 2021 of the LUMSE University in Rome. Innovation Talks is an important initiative of our university, a cycle of webinars aimed to discuss innovation, technology, sustainability, and the future of business in society with expert and opinion leaders in the business community and in the academia too. This is the fifth edition of these initiatives. Innovation Talks are organized by the Department of Law, Economic, Politics and Modern Languages, and the Master's Degree in Management and Finance in partnership with the Association of Alumni. I'm Filippo Giordano, and I'm a professor of management in LUMSA and the program director of the Master's Degree in Management and Finance. This edition of Innovation Talks is focused on the relation between humans and technology. In the first webinar, we hosted a talk about augmented reality and the impact on our life with Leandro Agro. Today, we are going to debate on the ethical challenges of these new technologies, and in particular, we will have a focus on artificial intelligence. So I'm very pleased to leave the floor to Leonardo De Cosmo. Ciao Leonardo, that will introduce the topic and our important guest speaker. Leonardo is a journalist expert of new technologies, is our teacher of digital transformation, and is the chair and the scientific coordinator of these webinars. So thank you, Leonardo.
Thank you, Filippo. Good morning. So here we are with our second appointment of LUMSA Innovation Talks. Thank you, Filippo. Thanks to our new guest of today. As you said, we have 4 talks with relevant guests to talk about relevant technologies, how they change business and society at all. Today we will talk about artificial intelligence. Maybe we don't know, we don't understand, we don't see how artificial intelligence lives with us, is around us. And also, if we don't like it, we have to live with artificial intelligence. So today we will talk about the relationships between us and artificial intelligence, especially thinking about the future, how will it impact in our life. So welcome to Maurizio Mori, bioethicist at the University of Turin and chair of Sipeia, the newborn Italian Society for Ethics and Artificial Intelligence. And at the end of your lecture, we will have a few minutes to make some questions if you have time. And so I leave you the screen. Thank you, Maurizio Mori.
Thank you very much for inviting me as a president, as a chair of a newborn Società Italiana per Sipeia, Società Italiana per l'Etica dell'Intelligenza Artificiale. So I try to give a framework on ethics. I prepared simply 2 slides in order to keep, and then I can give them to you. It's a proposal, a modest proposal of an ethics of artificial intelligence. Now, other people, the second slide, so we have a frame. I want to give you some ideas on what ethics is. I mean, I leave to other colleagues the task of explaining what artificial intelligence is. I take it, generally speaking, as the major innovation that we have now in the world, because we are able to have machines which are working in a kind of autonomous way. Of course, now it is limited, but for instance, we already have automobile cars that can drive for long time and in many situations in a sort of autonomous way. Now, the problem is how these new artificial intelligent machines will change or will have an impact on ethics. So, in order to try to understand this issue, we have first, this is my major task of this lecture, to clarify what ethics is. Ethics, I assume, is a soft and liquid social institution devoted to guarantee spontaneous and committed cooperation, cooperative behavior in in order. Sorry, there is a typo, an error. In order to reach the good. So ethics is an institution. What it is an institution? An institution is a social construct. We have a different kind of institutions, something that we do in a sort of coordinated way. Now, we have liquid, windy institution, I mean soft institution that you cannot see them. And we have solid and hard institution. For instance, law is a hard and solid institution which has the same goals as ethics. The difference is that law has buildings like prisons, courts, offices. There are people working. You can see uh, where the law is practiced. Ethics is soft and liquid. You cannot see exactly where ethics is, but ethics is very important because ethics guarantees the spontaneous and convinced behavior. Uh, it, People acting on ethical principles, they are doing something because they think it is right and they are ready to suffer in order to realize to make what it is good. And so ethics is extremely important because provides the sort of spontaneous. You cannot have to force people, but people act because they think it is just. On the other hand, law forces behavior on the fear of a sanction, of a punishment. People obey the law mostly in order to avoid the sanction. This is the difference, the major difference between law and ethics. Of course, for many, law must be obeyed because you agree. Most of the law is obeyed spontaneously. But usually you pay the ticket, not just because you think it is just. You pay the ticket for the train in order to avoid the fine. That is the difference. Now, language is another different institution. And the institution of language is similar to the institution of morality, of ethics, because ethics has the goal to reach the good of the people, while and it is soft in order to reach such a goal. On the other hand, the language is um, has many different goals. Of course, language can be used to describe, to command, to praise, to to pray, to do many different things. And it's a very liquid institution because no one can master a language. A language is a very cooperative institution. In any case, the point is that as language can change, so morality can change. This is a major point. Is morality unchanging and fixed, eternal, or can morality change? This is important because I think that morality, like language, can change according to modification of historical circumstances. And this is a point connected with artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence puts us in a new reality. I now was informed that you had already another seminar on increased reality, augmented reality, and of course, artificial intelligence will change the structure of our life. This is a point. And the point is, will such a change modify modify our ethical values, or our ethical values will stay? I think now, to take a second point, the second slide that I prepare, which is from the speech that Pope Francis sent to the participant of the Pontifical Academy for Life last year, uh, and the speech, the discourse, was read by Monsignor Vincenzo Paglia. Now, the Pope is speaking about artificial intelligence. The conference was on Renaissance. Renaissance is written with AI inside, and so that means artificial intelligence is a sort of new renaissance. Now, the Pope says digital innovation touches every aspect of our lives, both personal and social. It affects our way of understanding the world and ourselves. It is increasingly present in human activity and even in human decisions, and is thus altering the way we think and act. Decisions, even the most important decision, as for example in the medical, economical, and social fields, are now the result of human will and a series of algorithmic inputs. This is, I want to comment, because the Pope is very realistic in saying uh, artificial digital innovation, artificial intelligence affects our way of understanding the world and ourselves. We have a new understanding of what we are through uh, through artificial intelligence, because even some of the most important decisions are taking with a support of algorithmic inputs. To be sure, humanity, I continue the reading, has already experienced profound upheavals in its history. For example, the introduction of a steam engine or electricity, or the invention of printing, which revolutionized the way we store and transmit information. At present, the convergence between different scientific and technological fields of knowledge is expanding and allows for intervention on phenomena of infinitesimal magnitude and planetary scope, to the point of blurring boundaries that hereto were considered clearly distinguishable. For example, between inorganic and organic matter, interconnection between the real and the virtual, between stable identities and events in constant interconnection. Of a person on the personal level, the digital age is changing our perception of space and time and of a body. I mean, those are important change. And this is the Pope is recognizing that there are such a deep structural change. The Pope, in another speech, said that we are not only in an age of great change, but we are in a time of change of an epoch. We are changing radically, but this sort of change is similar to the change of a steam with the introduction of a steam age, or is much deeper. This is a question. I think my opinion is that artificial intelligence is putting us in a world totally new in respect with the past. Not only like, let's say, a change of time like it was from medieval to Renaissance time, but it's much deeper. I cannot have a real way of imagining how stronger it will be, but I'm sure that the change we are facing is much deeper. And then I continue the reading, please, if you put the point. The Pope continues saying the complexity of technological world demands of us an increasing and clear ethical framework, so as to make commitment truly effective. This commitment truly effective. The ethical development of algorithms, the algor ethics, can be a bridge enabling those principles to enter concretely into digital technologies through an effective cross-disciplinary dialogue. Now, I appreciate the idea of a cross-disciplinary dialogue, and also the Pope is very careful in considering also a sort of interculture dialogue. But the idea is, are ethical principles changing, or are the same ethical principles that had been developed in the past applied to the technological complexity? The Pope is speaking. Please, I put it in bold. If the complexity of technological world demands of us an increasing clear ethical framework. The clear ethical framework is the ethical framework of, which was revealed 2000 years ago, or is it an ethical framework that is in progress, that is going to change? This is the difference on which we have to think about. My thesis is that the ethical framework is changing. It will be modified in the future. And in order to make a short example, and then I open the discussion and accept questions in order to see whether I was clear, at least in my modest proposal, is to think about work. Uh, Artificial intelligence will change completely the way in which people will work in the future. Think, for instance, in agriculture. Our manual work will be substituted by some robots, machines, that they can go and get apples from trees. We will have trees growing apples with engineered so that a machine can come and pick them up without working. So the ethics of working will change radically, and our values will be modified. Possibly this is the real problem. Possibly the problem is how to distribute equally or fairly equally the goods that has been produced by society, by the machines. Because now one problem is how to produce goods, but in the future goods will be produced every day by machine. And so, for instance, in Paris has been opened the first pizzeria where a machine, a robot, can make a pizza. They can make 80 pizzas per hour for 24 hours a day. So this means that you put a coin and the pizza will be delivered. Now, made exactly as a man can do the pizza. Now, imagine when all or most of works will be performed by machines. How this will change our values, because people will have something else to do in order to enjoy and to realize the life. And my thesis is that ethics will be radically changed in the future and most of our values will be modified by the changes of circumstances. I take a very simple example in order to explain that, and then I open the discussion. The point is that now winter is coming, and when winter is coming, we have to wear a jacket or a coat, maybe a cap, gloves, in order to maintain the welfare and self-realization of our body. But when summer will come, then our style of wearing will change, and we'll get a light a light clothes in order to avoid to sweat and to maintain the bodily temperature fair. So the norms will change. The moral norms of what we have to do will change according to the circumstances, and artificial intelligence is the most important uh, change that will occur and is going to occur in the next decades. So we must be prepared to modify our ethical principles in order to cope with a new situation. This is my general presentation on the impact that the innovation of artificial intelligence will have on ethics. I stop here and open for 10 minutes the discussion.
Thank you so much. You said artificial intelligence is the main driver of this changing now of ethics. But if artificial intelligence is written by us, can we write an artificial intelligence to determine how it can change the ethics? So I don't know if you understood my question.
No, I mean, our circumstances, now we have a commitment to work and to work hard. Think when the work will be prepared by artificial intelligence. The role of our life will change completely. This is what I am envisioning. It is difficult to imagine a situation in which you have a car that drives you wherever you want to, and you have a life organized by the agenda, not because your phone will tell you do it because you already organized and prepared the agenda. Now, how will be self-realization of the people in such circumstances? People possibly will have not to work too much, to let people, or have to working will be modified to prepare the programs that will be to work, not exactly to do, but to prepare what artificial intelligence will do. And then there will be a second problem, because artificial intelligence is intelligent. This is an issue which is quite important, but is intelligent in the sense that they will have a proposal. And you have to dialogue with the intelligence. For instance, let's take an example. If I say, this evening I want to see a movie, and my computer or my robot says, no, I think it's not a good idea, because usually at evening you prefer to not to go to a movie, but to go to a concert. And you have to dialogue with the intelligence. Who will win? Which values is better? Let's think that you have to decide how to, if you want to marry one lady or another lady. and your computer, your robot, assisted robot, will speak with the two ladies. And the robot will tell you, well, Lady A is much better than Lady B. But you like more Lady B than Lady A. These situations already occurred when parents gave advice to young people long, long ago. I mean, centuries ago, because now it doesn't occur anymore, but it 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 occurred in the past. But how will be in the future when machines will support our decision and we'll have to dialogue? When machine will work, our values, the deep values of our life, will be modified. And this is my different opinion compared to the opinion of Pope Francis, because Pope Francis thinks that values, in a sense, are given and must be applied to the complexity of digital innovation. I think that there are no a priori values, but values will be modified through interaction with technologies. And this is very difficult for me to foresee how the future will be, even if I'm sure that the future will be certainly very much different from now.
But anyway, do you think at the same time we need to teach in some way ethics to artificial intelligence, or is useless?
Very good question. I must tell, I don't know exactly. Yes, this is a very good question. Of course, Pope Francis can teach ethics to computers, to the new robots, because you have an ethics. I will maybe teach a sort of evolutive ethics, and then the artificial intelligence can evolve. But I understand that this can be said, but to do it should be very difficult. Certainly. But what I want to transmit is this general idea that the change that is going to occur is much, much deeper, much more profound than the change that we had from Roman times to Christian times. We experienced different eras, for instance, medieval, modern, Renaissance. The change that that we are going to face is tremendously bigger. And this means that we have to be prepared to modify some of our deep criteria in human society. I hope that we'll be maintaining more equality instead of aristocracy and difference. Okay, Filippo Giordano has to ask something. Please, I'm ready.
Thank you very much, Professor Mori, for your speech. Very interesting. So machines learn from us. So this dialogue, is important for the algorithm, for development of the algorithm. And I was wondering, what about enterprises? Because So enterprises are discussing about these ethical challenges, or are just exploiting the market potential of these technologies, because of course artificial intelligence can anticipate our behavior, and in this way can suggest the perfect fit, our preferences, our way of thinking. So I was wondering what is in the enterprise side, what is happening in terms of discussion about this issue.
Thank you, Filippo. I think that you got my point. In this sense, my feeling, I mean, my opinion, as a new as a new scholar in the field, is that now, let's say, Facebook, all the biggest, are doing what occurred at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Namely, they have a sort of what Marx called the originarian appropriation. They are trying to get everything they can because we are using the old ethics, let's say, of capitalism, of that a private can own whatever, the results of his own work. And because of this, uh, they are getting the richest in the world in a very short time. It might be that in the future, as it occurred, we will have a socialization of the results of the work. This is a topic. Of course, I'm not an economist, but from a moral point of view, I think that such a inequality is something immoral, unethical. But of course, here is a point. We have to change the values and to be more egalitarian in the future. And if someone is discovering a new algorithm, the algorithm is not proprietarian of a firm inventing it, but the algorithm has to be socialized. But this is a change in ethics. Of course, you can find out that even in the gospel, everyone, in the Act of the Apostles, they were sharing the goods. Of course, there are some return to the past. I can agree with that. But certainly we have to change some of the major criteria that we used. So I don't know if I understood well your question, but I do agree with what you said, because now hundreds people owns 80% of the wealth of the artificial intelligence, and this is not good. I don't have the solution. Of course, I'm not good enough, but I think that we have to think in that direction to find out a solution, a social solution. And I'm very happy that LUMSA is working in this direction.
Absolutely. It seems that we say in the field of management, so the competitive advantage of these big firms is increasing in exceptional way, because so artificial intelligence is increasing the ability of these firms to elaborate data about our lives, and the accessibility of this data is not for all, and so the gap is extremely increasing, and
Yes.
we need to talk about so artificial intelligence as a common good, but I don't know if is an utopia or something that we can gain in the future.
No, we have to think. But for instance, this is another point. Our notion of privacy has to be completely reconstructed, because of course that privacy is a 19th century, early 19th century concept, when as soon as I went out of a town, nobody knew who I was and so forth. But now the concept of privacy will have to be reconstructed. And this is the frame of our lives, has to be reconstructed. So we must be very careful, because to appeal to our sense of justice.
Thank you very much.
My last question, then I leave to Filippo to the conclusion. And so ethics, artificial intelligence changed our ethics, and now we have to change the laws. I understood some way.
Yes, in a sense it is true. First we change ethics, and then we change the law.
Thank you, Maurizio Mori.
Thank you very much, Maurizio, for your speech, your availability, and thank to Leonardo for to organize this webinar. And I want to thank our students connected with us, and all the communication teams of LUMSE University that is supporting in these initiatives from the technical point of view, of course. So see you in December for the last 2 webinars of this cycle with Alessandra Asciutti, the first one, researcher of Italian Institute of Technology. We will talk about robotic humanoid technology, if I remember well. So have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet
Bye.
you all. Ciao,
Bye-bye.
ciao.
Ciao.